First time camping alone in the camper, which I'm a little nervous about, but I feel like pretty excited. And I'll tell you more about the trip over tea tomorrow for breakfast because I am really tired. There she is! Beautiful little camper! There's like all these little caves. I've never seen mountainscapes like this before. Yeah, I have a feeling that this sunset is about to be magical up here. Look how pretty. Just threw a bunch of veggies in a bowl, called it a day, and came out pretty good. Hungry? Good morning. I'm outside of Valley of Fire right now. I found a really great spot to camp out on BLM land, and yeah, I felt pretty safe. I had some really great neighbors. It was like a mom, dad, and son, so I felt pretty safe around them. It's just right off of the Valley of Fire highway too, so super convenient just to get to the state park this morning. So last night was my first night ever camping solo. What eased my nerves was just having a plan. I had an escape route. My truck is facing the road to escape and get back onto the highway. Next to me, I kept my car keys to set off the alarm. I had all of my curtains down and all of my windows were covered. That way no one could see in. So I felt really safe. I had this plan. I wasn't, playing outside so people could see that I was alone. People had my location. I think just like running through those scenarios, even though they're scary, can give you an added boost of confidence. That way you just know what to do when the worst case happens. So yeah, the other thing yesterday. So if I'm being honest, I definitely, if something goes wrong in the camper, Anthony is the one that takes care of it. It's just, in the moment, for both of us, it makes more sense that I help out where I can, but if something breaks, normally he knows how to fix it. So, yesterday, I had to figure out how to fix everything for the first time, and I've kind of realized how dependent I am when things go wrong on Anthony, and I'm super, super grateful for him and his knowledge, but I'm also very grateful for this trip because it's really pushed me to learn how to do things on my own. But yesterday was a struggle and a half, so I checked the weather before leaving, and I purposely left, we'll just go back to the beginning, I purposely left at 4 a.m. because a snowstorm was hitting Lake Tahoe, where I live, at 9 a.m. And I was like, I don't want to be anywhere near here when the snow comes in. It's 4 a.m. I'm packing up the truck, turning it on to warm it up. What's it doing? It's snowing. It was snowing so hard all the way from there into Reno. And then it stopped. And I checked the weather and the radar again, and it said, no snow. No snow. Looks good. All the way into Tonopah. For another 2 hours, there were like 60-mile-an-hour winds, and then also it was just downpouring the whole way here. I remember going through Hawthorne, and it wasn't snowing yet there, actually. Like, that was kind of where the break was between Reno and Tonopah, where it was snowing there, too. I'm in Hawthorne, and I see these signs that say, beware of dust, and I'm like, oh, must be windy here. Like, meanwhile, this pump took 10 minutes to put 5 gallons of diesel in my truck. While I'm waiting these 10 minutes for 5 gallons, I see this dust start, like, coming in from afar, just, like, closer and closer and closer, and it hits me, and I'm just, like, holding the pump, I'm like, God dang it, and the wind, I almost, like, got blown over. It was, like, 50-mile-per-hour winds. So anyways, I continue to drive, and then I'm approaching Tonopah, and I'm like, great. I checked the weather. Tonopah looks great. It's 40 degrees, blue skies, sunny, according to my app. No. Blizzard again. The roads are getting covered in snow, and, like, the reason I went on this route was to avoid all of the shitty weather. The only rainy day is going to be Tuesday. Fine, whatever. Anyways, there's insane wind. Like I said, like I was standing outside and I felt like I was going to be blown over, which is terrifying in the truck camper with a super tall 1970s camper on top. And then, as you saw probably in my B-roll of footage in the beginning of this, one of my doors that covers the propane tank just starts, the bottom of it starts flapping out. And I'm like, oh no. I pull over and the little locks opened up and I'm like, okay, I'll just lock them. Maybe it wasn't locked, whatever. Get back on the road. In 5 minutes, it starts flapping again. So I call Anthony. I'm like, hey, what should I do? He's like, just duct tape it. I duct tape the whole bottom. It like stays okay. 5 minutes into the road, the duct tape starts falling off. So I have to re-duct tape it, and then it starts raining. And if you know anything about duct tape, it doesn't stick to surfaces that are wet. So I try my best and dry it off and duct tape it, and I get on the road again. And then 5 minutes later, the top of it starts wiggling out like this, and it looks like literally the only thing holding it is the duct tape on the bottom, and the top of it's flailing open. I'm like, why are the hinges not working on this? So I pull over again and duct tape the hinges. And I call Anthony, I'm like, what is going on? And that's when I realize how reliant I am on my boyfriend, because anytime something goes wrong, he's doing it. Keep in mind, I have 25 more miles to go before getting into a town, and the bottom was duct taped and locked in, so I wasn't too worried about that, but the top screws needed tightened in the hinges, so basically they're like about to fall off, and it's a very weird angle. It's like sideways, not straight on, and a long screwdriver like I had wouldn't fit in that spot. I almost needed like a pocket, you know, like how pocket knives have those screwdrivers. I needed like that. So I'm going down the highway like 40 miles an hour in a 75-mile-an-hour speed limit. My hazard light's on, 25 miles, and then I pull into a gas station, and by the grace of God, there was a guy that looked like, you know, approachable, kind of like dad vibes, in the same truck as me, and I get in line to fill up fuel behind him, and I'm just like, hey, I'm so sorry, but do you have a tiny little Phillips head screwdriver so I can fix this hinge on my door? And he's like, yes. So after 8 times of pulling over and driving so slow and pissing everyone off, I fix it and tighten it up, and I have no issues going from, I don't know what town that was, but it's like Death Valley area all the way to here on the Valley of Fire Highway. After that, I tightened it. It was smooth sailing. I made it all the way to my campsite. I set up camp, I played with Stanley, and now we're here, and I am so happy. So I'm going to do some exploring and take you along with me as I see the Valley of Fire for the first time. So cool. Just got done hiking up here on the Fire Wave, and if you are in Valley of Fire, I highly recommend. That was our first hike of the day. I think we'll walk around more, but it's just like I think a 1.8 mile loop, and it takes you through a little sandy slot canyon, and I've never seen a slot canyon before, so I thought it was really epic. The weather here right now, since it's March still, is like perfect. I definitely want to come back here with Anthony while we're full-time in the camper and spend like several weeks around here. Like, that's so good. It's just magic. The rocks are such a beautiful color. The whole landscape, I can't even describe it. It's just, I'm so happy I came down here. I'm conflicted because I really want to be here for golden hour. I'd really like to go over to Lake Mead. There's a really good warm spring from what I hear over there, and I'd really like to take a soak right now. Alright, so there's red rocks outside of Valley of Fire, so if I need to shoot later for sunset, it's really beautiful along this whole road. I just went on a different exit than where I entered in the park. But I figured out that the spring that I want to go to is only a 10-minute drive from this exit, so we're gonna go soak. So I'm a little conflicted about going in because it says something. Okay, so I don't know if you guys are familiar with, I think they're called amoebas, but that type of bacteria can be, they're present in all, I thought like they can be present in all hot springs, but this one says, warning, do not walk through your nose. And like, I know this is a thing at like, you don't go water in any hot spring. But like, I don't know, just seeing that sign freaked me out. I think it's because it's so like established that they have to have a warning. So, I'm sad. So, the hot spring is not, well, warm spring, it doesn't even feel warm. Like, I've been in warm springs and been able to soak in them, but this one doesn't feel that, like, warm at all. It feels like room temperature. And there's signs about brain-eating amoebas, and I wouldn't even be able to sit in there comfortably. I'm just gonna say I'm not feeling it, but it is beautiful. Goodbye, Valley of Fire.